So we left off where everybody was hanging out on the ship, and we just discovered that the silver tray that Lady Brooke had, as she tried to extinguish that egg, that black egg, it burnt. It burnt the tray, that silver tray. And when she lifted it up, you could see a map. And Sunshine, Maritza, grabbed the tray and said, "I've only seen this in a dream. I never knew that it was real." And it's directions to catch the invisible island. And now they need to set sail to find this island. And as she's looking at the map and she sets it in the burned spot of where that egg was crushed, she can see how she needs to go. Normally, ships only come through this way, through the Dire Straits. That's the Dire Straits. She has to sail up through the Dire Straits, because right on the other side, at the top, is where the island will be. That invisible island. Right here. She's not really sure how she's going to be able to get through the Dire Straits backwards, but she has a plan. She calls Sam over and says, "Sam, this is what we need to do. And I know that your dragon, Sparky, is very strong and can help tow us up the Dire Straits to the island." So as they start getting the rope, they're trying to see how much rope they have. They're pulling out the rope, all of the rope. There's so much distance that Sparky has to have in order for Sparky to be at the right level, not to damage the ship as Captain Maritza goes up the Dire Straits. Meanwhile, in the underwater realm, Miss Z is there. And remember, Miss Z has one of those shards that's black that hit the one that's in her tiara. And she has that. And she's down in the underwater realm. She's waiting. And she's waiting. And as she sits waiting there, she looks out upon this city, this underwater city, and knows that if some of the magical creatures down here ever escaped, it would ruin the Seven Realms. She's looking out, seeing all of the different creatures that are in this underwater realm. And as she gazes at the black shard, it's almost as it's hypnotizing her. And she is in some sort of trance as she keeps staring at it. She keeps trying to shake it off, but she can't take her eyes off of that shard. And the next thing you know, in the great pond before her, Mello, the most incredible sea creature, mermaid, swims up to her and has been saying her name for several minutes. Miss Z looks away from the stone and looks down at Mello. And Mello, we have to get rid of it. We have to destroy it. Miss Z says, I'm not really sure how I can do that. It's cold as ice in my hand. I don't really know what to do with it, but I do know that it belongs in this realm. So, Messina takes her cape, throws it into the water, jumps on the cape, and now the cape under her, she sinks to the bottom of that lake that's in the middle of the underwater realm. Mello follows her, swimming down as Miss Z floats to the bottom. They turn and they look and they can see that there is a tunnel that you can swim out of to get up to the surface of the water. Miss Z swims out, followed by Mello, and they're swimming all the way to the front of the castle. So they swim out and they swim up. Remember, Miss Z was the one that turned Mello from an Amazon into a mermaid, because Mello longed to be in the ocean. She longed to be in the water. And Miss Z says, I need you to keep guard of the underwater realm. I have a feeling that something bad is going to happen. And Mello said, you bet. She swam back down underneath the realm and back up through the lake. And she sat there. And she could feel the movements underwater. She could sense the things in the realm. And she knows that her realm is okay. She can feel it in this realm. Miss Z, now at the castle, rises above the water, heads over to shore. The cape falls down onto the ground. She waves her hand, and the cape comes back around her neck. And she starts walking over to the castle. Now she's at the castle. She sends out the orb. She whispers into the orb and says, I need to see you immediately. The orb took off. As she sent the orb, it went to Buzz's tavern. Buzz looked up, saw the orb coming, and knew that it was Miss Z. Miss Z is summoning Buzz to the castle. Buzz walks out of the tavern, turns towards the castle, takes one step, 2 steps, and now is a dragon. Buzz takes off into flight and soars over some beautiful, beautiful territory. And as Buzz gets closer to the castle, she could see Miss Z. Buzz flaps down and lands right in front of Miss Z. And as Buzz walks over 1 step, 2 steps, Buzz is now Buzz. And Miss Z says, I have this shard that I got from that storm. I'm not really sure what to do with it. And Buzz remembers about that chicken and says, that chicken, Oscar, will eat that stone and keep it safe. Miss Z looks down at the stone, and the next thing you know, several minutes pass, and Buzz is also looking at that stone. And Buzz hits Messina's hand. The stone flies up. Buzz catches it and says, this stone should never be touched by you. Buzz takes it, moves the shirt, lifts up a small scale from the dragon skin that Buzz has and places that black shard there and says, that's the safest place. No one can touch it but me. And when I see Oscar the chicken, I will take it out and I will give it to Oscar. Miss Z, so relieved, thanked Buzz. Remember, Buzz and Messina are about the same age. The only one on the 7 realms older than Miss Z and Buzz is Katsu. And Katsu right now is with Jared the Giant on the ship. So Miss Z and Buzz start talking about the things that are happening in the worlds right now. They're not sure if they're doing the right thing. They're concerned because they don't know how many shards are out there, and they must collect all of them. They can do great harm to the realms. Well, Messina Miss Z lifts her scepter up to the sky, because remember, there's a storm coming, but not the evil storm. She lifts her scepter up to the sky, and the next thing you know, she turns into a lightning bolt right in front of Buzz. So Buzz flies back to the tavern. And as Buzz is flying back to the tavern, Buzz feels a soreness that they've never felt before in their lives. A soreness that seems to be coming from that shard. So Buzz flies back to the tavern, turns back into Buzz, and now is doing the things that Buzz does. Meanwhile, back on the ship, but nonetheless loves the little grapes. So Sam leans down, whispers into Sparky's ear. Sparky grunts, takes off, starts flying up the dire straits. The dire straits. And they're trying to get to the very top, because that's where the map says the invisible island is floating. And the only way to get to this invisible island is to go up through the dire straits. And as Sparky's flying and spitting out flames, and you could see the legs moving in the air, trying to get that momentum, trying to get up that dire strait. He's flapping his wings so very hard. He's moving the ship. He's moving the ship. It's going up the dire straits. I can't believe it's actually working. Maritza says, this is amazing. Maritza is overcome with steering and watching, and it's amazing that the ship is moving with this dragon. And as they get about halfway, you could see the rope beginning to tear, beginning to rip. They're going up. If the rope tears, if the rope breaks, they'll be going down the dire straits backwards. What's going on, raises her hands in such a way, pointing all of her energy towards that rope, bringing the cords back together as they were unraveling, making that rope incredibly strong. The concentration on her face to save the ship. I'm watching the whole thing unfold right before me. Sunshine, Maritza using the captain's will to miss a lot of things, to keep the ship going up the dire straits. Sparky pulling as hard as he can, flapping his wings, getting that boat, getting that ship up to the top of the dire straits. And as it gets real tense, and we think we're going to make it, Kimoji collapses on the ship, just collapses. It's overwhelming, the struggle that she's having to keep that rope, and she has collapsed. I bend down, I check on her to see what's happening. Is she okay? She has no more strength. I don't know what to do. I have all of these magical things in my satchel, but I'm not magical. I'm just here to watch. Sunshine jumps down from Maritza jumps down from steering the boat, runs over to Kimoji, lifts her up, holds her up, grabs her hands and lifts them up towards the rope, letting Kimoji take the energy out of Maritza. The rope starts to go back together. I notice that no one's manning the wheel. Katsu and Giant Jared notice that the wheel needs to be held. Jared runs over to the wheel and holds it firm. He's very strong. He's a giant. He's got the wheel. We're almost to the top. How will we know? How will we know if we find this island? It's invisible. How will we know? Sam takes another grape out, throws it so that it goes out a little bit further than what Sparky can reach. So Sparky pulls a little further and pulls a little further. Sparky's getting tired. We're almost to the top. We're almost to the top. Sparky lets out a flame so big. One more oomph just to get us up there. Spraying out all of the fire from Sparky's mouth. You could see the beach of the island with the fire from Sparky's mouth. It's right there. It's right there. Sparky flames again. The island is there. We can see it. Maritza still holding Kimoji. The rope has to stay. The rope has to stay. We've almost got it. Jared is holding on to the wheel. Katsu is saying in her head, we've got this. We're gonna make it. Maritza and Kimoji collapse. They both have fallen. I'm down saying, you've got to get up. You've got to get up. The rope starts to snap again. Sparky pushes one more time. The rope snaps apart. Sparky and Sam go tumbling in the air. Sparky lands on the beach. Sparky's on the beach. We can see him. Are we going to be able to make it? Sparky's out. I think Sam has been knocked out from landing on the beach. Kimoji gets up one more time. I'm standing there watching the whole thing. Maritza, Lady Brooke, I can't believe it. I can feel the ship moving backwards. I don't know if we're going to get it. And then, all of a sudden, there was a lightning bolt that just happened and appeared, and it hit the island right by Sparky's feet. And there was Miss C. She turned and looked at the predicament that we were in. She lifted up her hands towards the ship, and I could now feel it moving towards her. It's moving towards Miss C. I think we're going to be okay. We land on the shore. I don't know how Sam is doing. I don't know how Sparky's doing. We get out and we run over to them. We're looking down. Sam is bleeding. Sparky has a gash next to the neck. I don't know what's happening. Nobody's breathing. Lady Brooke comes out, pushes through everybody, and 7 bottles. She looks over at Sam. She pulls up one of the bottles. She pours it into Sam's mouth. Nothing's happening. She takes that same bottle and she goes over and she pours it into Sparky's mouth. Nothing's happening. She doesn't know what to do. She knew that this potion was supposed to heal. Messina, Miss C, turned around, laid her hands on top of Sparky. She could feel a faint heartbeat. Miss C says, "Sparky's alive. Get more potion." Brooke pours more potion down Sparky's mouth. And Sparky sputters a little bit. Miss C goes over to Sam, puts her hands on Sam, and says, "I don't feel a heartbeat. I don't know if it's too late." Sparky can sense that there's something wrong with Sam. Sparky covers Sam. Flies Sam up into the sky, holding on to Sam. He has for Sam is its own magic potion. While they're flying around in the sky, Sam starts to breathe. Sam's gonna live. Sparky's tears, full of love, falling down on top of Sam. Save Sam's life. Those tears of love rescued Sam. Okay. Oh my goodness! Woo! My goodness gracious! Wow! Who knew? Who knew it was going to come to that?
The storyteller isn't supposed
wow!
to
I didn't know it was going to happen.
It surprised you out of nowhere.
It did. It surprised me out of nowhere. Man, I can't.